Ian,
What's up, Chris?
what's going on? I'm always like sweating under this light. Yeah, I don't know if you feel the same way, but anyways,
I have a softbox about 6 feet away, so it's a little better than a ring because a ring is right in front of your face. But hey, it works. You look great.
oh, thanks. Good camera. So we'll see you next week, but
Yeah.
live in person. But for now, what does your real estate business look like? 'Cause you've been in the game for a long time.
Yeah, it's interesting. It has definitely evolved over time. I'm right. I hold a license, so I represent buyers and sellers. So I call that the retail side of the business. We're not doing as many renovations right now just because it's difficult to get the numbers where we need them to be, and there's always somebody that's willing to pay more. So that slowed down, but I'm really glad about that just because, I'm building my business in other ways. I'm a partner in a 144 unit multifamily deal here in Texas. I have a partnership with land development. We go out and buy 3, 4, 5, 600 acres of land, replat it, sell off 5, 10 acre plats. So that's pretty incredible too. And then my brokerage under EXP. So I stay pretty busy. So that's kind of what my business has evolved into today versus just selling a house.
Yeah, I know that hamster wheel. How were you introduced to EXP?
My buddy Pat Hayes, he had gotten into our funnel when we had a coaching business, and I was teaching people how to buy and sell houses with seller financing.
Wait, so
Guys know?
Pat Hayes was going to you for coaching.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
man,
Pat was only like a year or two into the business. And at that time, we had built a huge seller financing business here in Dallas. Some of my coaches and mentors were in the information space. They spoke at RIAs, they were educators. And they all had products, right? They all took what they were experts at and taught other people how to do it. So I was like, okay, well, I've done hundreds of seller finance transactions. I guess that's my expertise. So let me build a product around it. And I traveled around the country and spoke in front of people. That's how I met Connor. I think the first time Connor and I even saw each other, I was at Dennis Henson's over in Arlington. So yeah, I had a great run with that, which I still help and coach people. I just don't sell coaching anymore for myself, at least. But I actually buy coaching and personal development. I have a personal coach. I have other agents that have personal coaches. So it's still a big part of my life and business. I've kind of moved on in my real estate career, so to say.
Yeah, and I mean, you're never done educating yourself.
No,
and the game's always changing too.
Every day is a learning. And even at this point, which you know too, Chris, it's like we've got a lot on the line. So we're trying to navigate through what's happening in the economy, COVID, the government, taxes, all this. We're trying to navigate through all this stuff. So it's been a ride. And that's why I've always had a focus of just not putting all the eggs in one basket because, we did that when we had a run from 2010 to 2016 is when we were at the heat of that business, how I was scaling, buying, and then reselling with seller financing. And I mean, it was a buyer's market, right? There was inventory just parked everywhere. I mean, I was buying burned outs and financing those to builders, which was my favorite strategy. We went from buying and renovating homes, like doing big renovations, which we've done here recently. But when you get 3 or 4 of those going at one time, right? You know this, Chris, like the money and capital that it costs to get those houses to the finish line and then carry them all the way through contract. And then to finally get right that line of demarcation is every day. So every day you're losing money on those deals. So we got really beat up and burned in that. And then we had to make a shift. And then I started buying houses and then I wanted them to cash flow. It's like every house that I buy, I'm keeping somehow rental, cash flow, note, whatever. And now it's evolved into this whole Airbnb short-term game, which is your niche and expertise, which is mind-blowing. And it's so relevant for now and today.
Yeah, going back looking at our business, and Jamie can really attest to this too. Like we flipped 200 or so houses, but wish we would have I'd be
hold on to more.
Yeah, because a question I posted on Facebook just the other day, several of the folks are like, "Hey, how many rentals do you own?" And several of them are well over 100 plus because they didn't flip during that time period. They bought and held. Now they got like 100-unit portfolio. So
I know.
How has EXP Realty impacted your business?
I really had no clue of how it was going to, because, everybody just knows what they know, and real estate brokerage has not evolved in 100 years since its inception. So the world is changing around us, which I didn't know I was going to have the impact that it did. But it took me from thinking about business in my local market to not only all over Texas and all over the United States, but North America and now around the globe. I mean, actually, today I have a call with the South Africa broker because we're in conversations with agents and brokers in South Africa. And that is just like kaboom, mind blowing. How does that work? Right? It's like, so my life today versus 5 years ago, I never thought outside my local market. Now I'm building a global business. The impact has just been massively significant.
It's funny is that when you talk international too, I was talking with a Spain agent that's on the team, and but he's also working with a lot of overseas investors from China and from all throughout Europe, because he works in the Barcelona area, and he's like, and talks about listing an entire hotel. It's like pretty close to the beach in Barcelona. I'm like, this is nuts.
So beautiful. Yeah, and to really think about that, the perspective of what our founder Glenn has done and allowed the agents, it's just one single company and the agents own the company, which is so different than anything that anybody could have ever experienced. And now it's a multi-billion-dollar company, and the stories are real. It's happening. It's made millionaires out of regular agents. And even Glenn Sanford himself said now one of his personal missions is to create more millionaires than any other company in history. So he's got a big vision.
A huge vision. Actually, he said that the very first not the shareholder event, but the agent awards event that I went to in New Orleans. So you were there.
Congratulations for becoming an icon agent. That's amazing.
Yeah. Thanks. But yeah, he was like, he wants the value proposition of eXp Realty to be so great, it would be irresponsible to hold your license anywhere else. And I was like, boom.
That's a pretty big statement. Yeah, it is.
And everything they've done since then, he's clearly living that out. So what should other agents, not especially investors, but including investors who may or may not have their license, but they're actively involved in the day-to-day operations, or at least run an organization that works with real estate, what should they consider when looking into eXp?
Well, I mean, the licensing part first, like I was an investor, ran a company in 5 different markets, and I leveraged 2 other brokers and their team members to run our dispositions. So I knew it was a vital part of any investing business, right? You have to put the property on the MLS, or has to be those extra legs. So for me, I ended up getting a license by default after I'd bought and sold hundreds of homes through our investment companies. It opens up more opportunity, in my opinion. And everybody's going to be different. Everybody has a different opinion. I got my license for primarily referrals. Like what? I can send business across state lines and a commission check will show up in the mail.
Yeah.
All right. So that was very attractive for me. And that's initially why I got my license in the beginning, because I had friends coming to me. I was writing contracts for them. A buddy of mine bought a $700,000 house for $500,000. And I wrote the contract for it. And it was like 2010. When the market was super soft and luxury houses were just discounting 10, 20, 30% to try to move them. And I was like, that was probably a pretty big commission. I was like, oh, wow. So I guess I should get a real estate license. And it's evolved into what it is today. So, I coach agents, have agents all over the country. I got paid on over 200 transactions last month by referral. So, I mean,
yeah,
I'm almost speechless, right? Got to pinch myself, and it's just growing and compounding. It's growing at 8% a month. So the agents are growing at 8% a month, and the revenue is growing at 8% a month, and it's like a dream business.
And without truly sitting down to look through the details of the model, it's almost incomprehensible.
It is. It's so big. It's tough to get your head around.
Cool.
It's a lot of fun. So if you guys are wanting to re-energize your business, right, reach out to whoever, Chris, whoever you're in contact with. Just say, hey, look, show me this. Let's look at some numbers. What's the opportunity? I think that's another thing, like Grant Cardone says, people just aren't thinking big enough. Their thoughts are just not thinking big. That's the thing about equity and why I got into land and development, because equity is where you make the money, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Amazon, Apple, right? If you would have bought, if you would have invested $100,000 in their equity 20 years ago, right? You'd be flying around on jets and yachts because you've got so much cash. You have to spend it somewhere. Like, it's equity that drives wealth. Commissions is just kind of like a cash flow type strategy. So if you're an agent and you're listening, find ways to get into equity deals, apartment complexes, storage facilities, like land, self-storages, do Airbnbs. Like, you've got to get in the equity game if you want to level up your life and your business. Because I know I'm going to be 47 this year, Chris, and I'm going to try to live the next 25 years like on a different level that I did the first, 50.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? I grinded since I was 14 years old. And it's gotten to the point where the business and I'm passively investing money. So if you read Cash Flow Quadrant or Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it's like I finally made it over to the other side, and I'm rolling in on the B and the I quadrants and less in the S quadrant. And I haven't been in the E quadrant in 30 years. So it's like that manifestation of the dream of reading that book. Like, oh my gosh, what would it be like to have a passive
it's
income
leverage.
style?
It's leverage.
Leverage, that's it. Yeah. So I found it with EXP, and then that's opened up opportunities so I can invest in bigger ventures. So very blessed.
Awesome. Well, hey, Ian, I look forward to seeing you next week, and appreciate all the leadership that you've provided over the years, and look forward to many, many great years.
Awesome. Well, hey, I'm proud of you, Chris. You guys are growing Houston like the leaders, the true leaders that you guys are.
No, not Houston. Global, man. Global.
Yeah, no, but you guys started there in Houston, so that's like your backyard is what I mean. Like, y'all are grassroots in Houston, Texas. I'm up in Dallas, so we're part of the Texas crew. But obviously it's it's wild. I got paid on a transaction in India. I was like, this is really happening. Cool. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, take care.